How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of the breakdown of the Paw Patrol movie. In one of my previous videos, I covered the Ryder and Chase falling out scenes, and every event, moment that led to this happening, as well as what was so significant about it. And for today, we'll be going to look at my number 1 favorite scene in the entire movie, most emotional, and a scene I didn't expect to see in the movie, and that is the use and trying scene. I think this is the most important scene in the entire movie, and you might have thought about this scene, and it might be more significant than any other scene I've seen in this movie, at least in my opinion. But before, we'll go through every event in this movie leading to this moment happening. And when we get there, I'll explain why it's so significant, and why I consider it to be one of the most emotional scenes of the whole movie. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. To find out how we got this scene, we need to find out why Chase is feeling this way in the first place. And that all starts with going back in time to the backstory. There are a couple things off the bat we need to discuss. One of them was, how long was Chase in Adventure City? And unfortunately, the movie doesn't give us a good representation of this on how long he was there, only seeing it turn from night to day in one sequence. The other two questions, who abandoned Chase and why? Those were never answered, unfortunately. Anyway, after spending a good amount of time full of perils of the big city and crowds of people, during the end of this first part, Chase is about to get run over by a truck before the backstory ends on a cliffhanger. We all know he survived this, and that's where Ryder found him. And this leads to the conversation with Chase and Ryder, and the fireworks dilemma that happens later. I already talked about all this in the Falling Out video, and I'll leave a link in the top right corner right now to the video if you want to watch it, before me talking about the use and trying scene. And speaking of which, as we start this scene off, you can see Chase squirming around and can't seem to fall asleep. This is possibly due to after the events that happened a few hours earlier, and he can't seem to get it off his mind. And maybe even as well as the past coming back to frighten him even more.
Just to jump away from where you wanna go.
After this, Chase heads down to the command section of the tower, with the lyrics from the Use and Trying finally playing. The first thing we're going to start off with, just a jump away from where you want to go, signifying Chase being back in Adventure City, or maybe, just maybe, even the leap of faith, probably.
But you're too afraid of doing it alone.
The second one is but you're too afraid to do it alone. This time around, unlike the backstory, he isn't alone, and he has Ryder and the team with him.
So getting halfway there is all you've ever known. I've been down that road. Chase going down this path again, where fear and sadness start to take hold. After this, as he looks out toward Adventure City, sighing to himself and upset that he has to go through this ordeal once again. Now, when I look at Chase looking through the glass at himself in this scene, I almost see him not looking at himself, not like all grown up in recent years, but back to the backstory when he was a young puppy, and the old habits and fears of his time in Adventure City in the past are starting to return to him again, and he's going down that road once again. Also, this is where we see Chase having his head down, not wanting to look at Adventure City, and once again that feeling of sadness starts to kick in, and the glass that separates him and Adventure City could symbolize the troubled connection the two have had. Hold your head up, you'll find your way home.
And as the night transitions to day, hold your head up and you'll find your way home, signifying that it's a new day, a possible step in the light, and more importantly, hope. A chance for redemption could be on the horizon. And for Chase, and maybe for Liberty, is another day to prove herself that she could be a valuable member of the Paw Patrol.
It's pieces of yourself you're gonna find. Maybe that's the use in trying. It's pieces of yourself you're gonna find. Maybe And the pieces of stuff you're going to find is again signifying the message of hope and trying to build yourself back up again. And that is the use in trying. This entire sequence is emotional itself, but having the song play in the back makes it even more emotional and significant, as the song lyrics actually relate somewhat to the scene and events happening at the same time. And that's why the use in trying scene is my favorite scene in the entire Paw Patrol movie. Next time in this, I'll cover the jail scenes and the rest of the backstory, as well as Chase rejoining the Paw Patrol at a later date. What did you think of the use in trying scene and the song altogether? Tell me in the comments below. And with that, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.